Awesome. So the next person I'd like to invite up is Bryce Deppler. He is our own sound and media guy, which he's doing at the moment. But he's going to take a break from that and come up on stage to talk to you. So Bryce, if you want to make your way up to stage. Bryce started in technical ministry at an early age when he was touring with his parents, who were a part of a vocal group in Victoria, and was thrust onto the mixer one service when their sound guy didn't turn up. Having taken up the family business in technical ministry, he has spent over 3 decades as part of vocal groups, bands and choirs, and spent those years travelling around Australia, running sound and lighting for various vocal groups, church conferences and community programs. Bryce started running video ministry at Springwood, this church, in 2012 out of a need to reach people in their congregation who weren't able to attend or people who wanted to share the sermons with others. Springwood started live streaming the LDC service in 2016 and has grown the channel to be praised by people like Wayne Bonham. Head of Hope Channel is one of the leading in live streaming church services in our union. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jess. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's great to be here. I'm always here, so it's always good to be here. Thanks to everyone who's here. Welcome to all those people online as well, and welcome to those people who are watching after. I hope you really get something out of this. 20 months ago, I received a phone call from Kendall, our lead pastor. This new virus called COVID-19 had reached our shores and was starting to be a significant concern with churches throughout. So a discussion was had and our leaders made the difficult decision to close the church. Little did we know that days after we did that Australia would effectively go into lockdown and every church would all of a sudden have nothing to do. At that time, it was my time to shine. At Springwood, I started our video ministry, as Jess said, in 2012 with a single camera, recording all the sermons, taking those recordings, editing them, fixing the audio, and uploading them to YouTube. In 2016, we started live streaming our full programs. So when 2020 hit and we were forced to shut down, nothing really changed for us. It was business as usual. And we were in a really good position. I mean, there were some tweaks. There was no live congregation. There were some really awkward pauses because people had no idea when the camera was on. And we had to tell pastors to look down the lens and not around an empty room. So literally overnight, live streaming became the main way to attend church. Here we go. More people watched church services online in the past year than any other year in human history. Show of hands, who here hears church live streams in YouTube, Facebook, Zoom? Who still watches their live stream regularly? Thank you, Raz. So who watches the live streams after the fact and shares them? Anyone? A couple people? Who here, does anyone here live stream personally, like gaming, personal blogs, morning devotions for those corporate stuff? Steve? Supplementary question, who here actually likes their church's live stream? I'm looking at Chewy, what are you doing? Tip your hand up, Chewy. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to all the Springwood people who put their hands up. So when we set up our ministry, it was set up for one goal, to reach our core congregation. That was its first and primary goal, just to reach our congregation. It wasn't to reach the lost It wasn't to be a TV station. It wasn't to glorify our pastors and show how good they spoke. Brad, you'd be one of those too. And you spoke very well. But that was not our goal. Our goal, and the core of our live stream to this day, is to reach our own congregation. Our church service is the biggest thing we do as a church. We spend 167 hours a week planning for a 1-hour service as a congregation. This hour is where we put a bulk of our resources as a church. So it's a fairly important part of our church life and our church community. And when people miss that hour, or can't be there for whatever reason, sick, out of town, this hour of power available to those people who want to view it and make someone who thinks that they're going to miss out actually feel included. We still have old members and a few normal members who, when they watch our live stream, they actually watch right to the end when we do a big wide shot so that they can see who's actually attended that week, so that they can feel included. Say, oh, I can see Alan and Nadie. Oh, that's right, I need to talk to them this week. Oh, it's good to see them, even though I'm only seeing them online. But beware of a few things. Firstly, live streams are not about numbers. Numbers are great, and it's great to see that your live stream is growing, but it's not all about numbers. It's about the people behind the screen. It's also not about fancy equipment, and fantastic to see Sandra's thing, because I've actually talked about you anyway, so your video has gone through that. I mean, Sandra is a prime example of not using fancy equipment. I don't know if you could watch a Sabbath sing-along in a really good production value. I don't think it'd have the same feel as it would. Would you agree, Sandra? I mean, it just wouldn't be as authentic if you had a 3 or 4 camera setup, proper mics, in a studio, zooming, panning, shots. The single shot, seeing down the lens, talking to people personally, gives a real authentic feel. I know a lot of churches who have spent thousands of dollars on equipment. They lock it off at a wide shot, hit go, and that's it. So it's not about equipment, it's about people who are driving it. And don't limit your audience. Zoom's great, and it's really personal. And Facebook is fantastic, but why would you tunnel people into only one place when you can stream to people where they need? I was working with the church who only streamed to live stream because that's what they'd always done. And they'd been requested by a number of people to go onto YouTube because, of course, my elderly mother knows how to go to YouTube, but doesn't exactly know how to get onto a Zoom call all the time. So don't limit your audience. Or if you are using Zoom, make it available to everyone. Zoom's great for other things though, for engaging your audience after the fact or pre-service, or for small groups, prayer meetings. So engage your audience. You're really talking with a live stream, you're talking to 3 groups of people. Especially now, again, that we're back in-house. Firstly, you're speaking to your congregation. You're also speaking to the people who are watching online right now, and then you're also talking to the people who are watching after. So engage your audience. Appeal to not only people that are there, but the people who are down the lens. And we really had a good look at that when COVID hit and we were in lockdown. When we try and do live streaming, what we try and do is we try and capture the experience in the room and rebroadcast that so it feels much the same. But when COVID hit, all of a sudden we basically became morning shows. We sat in chairs, we talked to a screen and engaged our audience who are sitting on their couches or in their beds in their pajamas drinking their coffee. Now that things have got back to normal, this is the sort of the new normal. So we are live streaming again to people in the house and on the internet. Our audience is more savvy. They know how to watch and they know how to watch online, and they want to be engaged like they did when we were in lockdown. So here's a couple of examples of things, if you're involved in live streaming, even if you're not involved in live streaming, that you can help with. Pre-show, where you talk to the online audience specifically. Do a 2-minute countdown, but do it only online. Live stream only graphics. Have a congregational online reading that they can do at home with each self. Asking for prayer requests is a really good one for people online. There are a lot of people who can't make it, who are in dire need of prayer, and they're the ones who will often more than happy to comment and ask for prayer, and getting that to the pastor up the front so you can pray for them. Directing people to websites so that you can say, if your kids aren't here, go to our website, print out the colouring page for our series on Nehemiah, or here's some pastoral notes, or why don't you watch last week's service, and post-service call-outs. This is something that we're working at Springwood on at the moment, where after the service, for those people who are online, we want to tailor a message specifically for them to say, hi, thanks for watching our service. We know that you can't be here for whatever reason, but please, if you've got any problems, contact us at this link. And we're talking directly to those people online and not to the people in the congregation. So I hear you say, I'm not part of the tech team. I don't do any live streaming. Why are you talking to me? So here's 3 things you can do as non-live streamers. Be an online host. Jump onto your church's live stream and sit there with your phone open in the chat. Sit there commenting on the Bible verse that the pastor has just said. Sit there and welcome people. Hi Steve, it's great to see you today. I'll talk to you this week. Hi Elaine, that's great. It's great to see you. I wish we could see you in person. Personal things like this that everyone can do. Create graphics. If you're any good at graphics, we as live streamers love you. Doing stuff with pre-roll graphics, countdowns, lower thirds graphics. We often don't have the time or the expertise, but as creatives, it's often a really great way that you can help out the live stream ministry, or even just the slides and graphics ministry in general. You know, a slide at the end of the sermon that says, thanks for joining us, we'll see you next week. Or best yet, become part of the tech team. Run a camera. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's a matter of pointing a camera down, and a lot of the time, I don't know about yours, tech teams specifically, but most tech teams in this conference that I know of are really small. There are only 2-3 people in a booth. And if you're doing sound and trying to run a camera at the same time, it often doesn't convey what the service looks like too well. People are hungry for content now more than ever. So stream more. Stream not only your church services, stream your prayer meetings. We have a prayer meeting once the first weekend of every month. And that's been incredibly popular with people. I know Ipswich does it as well. Having that ability as a specific prayer ministry to reach people and have people from all around the world view on a Friday night, which is what time is it? US. It's yeah. I think Brazil is quite nice for them as well. Online sing-alongs like Sandra's doing. It's great. Youth gatherings. We've live streamed a couple of youth gatherings and parents love them because they can sit down with their kids later on and go over and see what they're doing and talk about the speaker and talk about what that speaker said. Daily devotionals. I wish more people would do daily or weekly devotionals because they are incredibly powerful to get up in the morning, spend your time with God, and then have somebody else spend their time with you talking about maybe the series that you're going through at church or just what's happening in their day and what they're going through. Maybe a Bible talk show or even just live stream a creative conference. I mean, that's a great idea. So we all started live streaming during the pandemic. So it's a matter now of keeping the momentum going. We've given our congregants the option, sick, take a week off, but you can now watch online. I'm sure you've picked up a few online followers as well who aren't as part of your congregation. Hello, Mary Lou. Thanks for joining us. So that's live streaming in a nutshell. If you've got any questions, of course, I'll be up the back live streaming. Thank you.